Throughout the process of implementing ThreatLocker, we leveraged the cyber hero support team heavily. We leveraged them effectively as an extension of our team to ensure that we were implementing policies that aligned with best practices, that any of the edge cases that we would kind of run into throughout the implementation and deployment of ThreatLocker, we knew how to properly deal with them. We knew how to plan around them. They have been an absolute benefit to us in leveraging them and just their willingness to help throughout the entire implementation process.
Working with the ThreatLocker Cyber Hero support team has been excellent. Since we are a small team, we struggle to implement new tools that are as powerful as this without a good support and integration engineer. I feel like the cyber hero that calls me when we do have a detection is working in the office right next to the support engineer I might have been on a call with earlier in the week. Experience I've had with the ThreatLocker Cyber Hero support team is when testing an application, I'm used to it being several minutes before I can even deploy or pull the new application into an environment. With ThreatLocker Cyber Hero automatic approvals, I found that the application request would be approved before I even got a chance to log in and open it up. It really surprised me and impressed me with that they can approve something before other solutions will even have the configuration saved and refreshable in the browser. So it's very impressive and prompt speed.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to week 9.
Welcome back to you, I should say. Good to see you again. You're looking tanned and happy and relaxed.
I don't know if relaxed is the right term.
Yeah,
I've now
okay,
got weeks of work to catch up on, but
Well, that serves you right for taking holidays.
yeah, that's it.
Socialist behaviour, that I might say.
So, I believe it went down to a storm, the Mac session.
We had great fun last week. We had great fun. We learned many things. We gave excellent advice. We discovered not to trust anonymous attendee who didn't like Macs, and we discovered that anonymous attendee, presumably another one, also loved Macs. Now, they might have been the same person, dual personality, not sure. But yeah, we had lots of fun. It was basically unsupervised. This is basically like teacher coming back, and he's going to give us homework and all sorts of stuff now. So fun's over.
Hopefully,
guys.
you had a lot of homework. So it looks like your homework was pretty simple. Disable AirDrop and only use it when necessary.
Yes, don't disable any of the built-in macOS protections like zip, gatekeeper, firewall, etc.
Okay. Question.
Make sure
when
disk
you use network
encryption's
control
enabled.
and you have the Mac firewall, is it the same as Windows? In that you can open a port on the
Yes,
ThreatLocker one and it opens
Yes.
on the... Okay, cool.
it's a firewall. And also to block macOS sharing capabilities like screen, file, and media.
Because Mac users would never be tricked into sharing their screen.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So,
But yes, we had great fun while you were away, Danny.
so when I was on the plane yesterday coming back, I watched the Beekeeper movie.
Okay.
Have you seen that movie?
I am aware of that movie. It's a Jason Statham movie, if I'm not much mistaken.
Yeah, very, very much like there's a computer at the beginning. It's a kind of hybrid between Windows 3.1 and a Mac, which is very close.
Okay.
And
So
she gets hacked because someone says, just let me connect your machine and they steal all the money. And then it's a good movie. The technology part of it's very bad.
So somewhere between Windows 3.1 and a Mac.
But they're basically the same thing.
OS 2 Warp, basically.
Okay, so...
Old person computer joke there.
And just as with Windows, Mac, same things apply. Block untrusted software, ring-fence applications, including curl.
Don't trust random people on the phone when they say they want to connect to your computer.
Yes.
All solid advice.
We're going to use this week to really recap, figure out where we should be. So a lot of people are still joining us. So we're going to go through what we did over the last 8 weeks and what people should have done, because some of this we obviously started at a test group level and some of it we started at a global level. So let's figure out where we should be. So week 1, for those, that was relatively easy. We basically deployed the ThreatLocker agent or an agent that allowed us to monitor file activity, executions, elevations, and network activity on your guinea pig group of computers. For those who are just joining now, we essentially have a guinea pig group, a separate org inside your security software. Everything you're going to do, you do there first. If no one gets mad with you, you move it on to the rest of the group.
You forgot the donuts.
Make sure you buy them donuts.
Yes.
Yes. That wasn't on the checklist.
Oh.
Oh, it is. Buy a box of donuts for the guinea pigs. It was and some easy wins for the guinea pig group we did on week 1. We should have set a password protected screensaver, and we should have turned off the Windows keylogger.
Getting to know you.
Or getting to know you, as Microsoft very appropriately call it. And identify apps that require local admin in the guinea pig group. So we showed you how to do that. You should be able to go into the unified audit filter and do that, and document USB storage. By the end of week 1, we should have been able to see who's using storage accounts on that, and document local admin accounts and when they were last in, and do a port scan of your network. So you should know what's on your network.
Useful information to have.
So now at this point, we should actually have this agent deployed to pretty much all of our machines. So week 1, we did the guinea pig. We're now in week 9. Whether you're using ThreatLocker, whether you're using a different EDR, you should have some kind of agent deployed that allows you to see all executions, elevations, network activity on your network, read, write, deletes, and everything else. I know it's bugging you to answer that question.
No, I'm just looking. Apparently we have another old person in our midst. So Carolyn said, funny, my last company still had a voicemail system running OS2 Warp, immediately mentally transported back to IBM in the mid-90s. So yes.
The 90s wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. In computer terms, it was though.
Okay. So we should have that agent deployed now everywhere, and we should have actually started securing machines as well. So on week 2, we went through the unified audit, and we really showed you how do you filter out, how do you deny. And I want to show you that again, because this is something you should be doing every week. Whether you're in secured mode, whether you're not, you want to know what's being denied in your organization, what isn't. So I'm going to flick to my machine, and I'm going to show you very quickly how to see what's being denied in your organization. And I'm going to actually filter out my pre-save filter that I was looking for something a moment ago. Basically, we have a box here that says any deny. Before you secure, this is a really good way of making sure we don't upset our users.
Break things.
So when we deploy ThreatLocker, we can do like a simulation, and this will show us everything that would have been denied if we were secured, and we can go in and make exceptions. And a couple of useful tips here. One is we can group by hash. This is really useful, so you're not looking at the same file 100 times over. And this will show you everything that would have been denied in your organization. And I've got a lot of test data in here, and you can create exceptions. So yesterday we downloaded Duo onto our servers. That obviously didn't have a permit policy at the time. We're in learning mode, so it allowed it to run. It has learned, but it gives you an idea of this is what's going to upset my users. Should be doing this every week. Go in, group by hash, group by path, and you can see what's being denied, what's being allowed in your organization. Now, I'm going to do the same for network traffic, because I want to talk about network as well, because we also put some network policies in place. And I'm going to turn off simulate, because I'm actually a hard deny now. And if you're not in secured mode, turning off simulate will show you hard denies and soft deny and simulated denies. So you can
I haven't actually told you this, by the way, but we have put in we're going to do the opposite of simulate denies as well. So actual denies or really denied. It's not there yet, but it's coming.
I didn't know. Well, you kind of can through filters.
You can, yeah, but you have to filter every time. So if people want to see things that are actually denied, we're going to have a
hard deny.
Yes.
So here, this will show us everything that would have been denied. Now, this is useful because one of the things we told you to do, or we did that this week, a few weeks ago,
By the way, sorry, I think we may have opened a can of worms with our OS2 Warp discussion. So Sean has said, I'll see your OS2 Warp and raise you Lotus Notes and Banyan Vines. And Eric Johnson has said, what about AS400? It's very important. Now, I think the follow-up question for that is going to be, can we have an agent for AS400?
We're still working on AIX.
Based on, everything else that we're being asked for. So, yeah, as long as there's no follow-on up questions to that. IBM Notes is great.
Okay, so on week 3, one of the requirements was, at least in our test group, to restrict outbound traffic on servers. Now, at this point, we're in week 9. We should be doing these things for our live servers. The way we do them is we put a policy in place, make sure it doesn't get hit. We can do simulated denies. But in our case yesterday, we literally just turned on all denies on our server and said our server cannot go out to the internet, which in most cases isn't going to break the server. It can still receive requests. So servers opposite to workstations, you want to allow outbound traffic and block all inbound traffic. Servers, you want to allow some inbound traffic and block all outbound traffic. Just a reminder, SolarWinds Orion Exchange vulnerability, both of which would have been foiled by blocking outbound traffic or at least ring fencing those processes.
Likewise, most data exfiltration.
Yes.
Realistically.
So really good idea to have this. In our case yesterday, we turned it on and it kind of bit us in the backside because we put Duo on the server, went to log in with Duo and Duo
Forgot to allow it.
But
easily fixable.
Easily fixable, because what we did is we went into here and said, oh, what's being denied? There's lots being denied. And we just went in and said, this was my search I had up. Show me Duo. And then I'm just going to go off and say, create a new network policy to permit Duo. And I'll just say outbound. I'm going to use hostname. duosecurity.com. And now my server can get out to Duo. It will automatically pre-fill the IP, but I want to do it by hostname. And it's 443, and that allows that exception. Good idea to be checking this every week.
Yeah, make sure there's nothing unexpected.
That's allowed. So just a reminder, Unify Audit, your best friend. You should be comfortable using it. You should be looking at what's being blocked, what's simulated being blocked. Week 2, we did some tests on USB drives, so put some block USB drive policies in place for our guinea pigs. Where we couldn't block USB drives, we suggested using non-encrypted. So we should have done this across the board now, although I don't know if we actually had this, so we're going to put this onto homework this week.
Told you there was homework coming, people.
Sorry, guys. Someone has to do some work.
It was all fun and games when you were on holidays.
I imagine it was. I saw that from the code output too, Rob.
Glenn Baker, do you have a built-in network tag for Duo? I don't think we do. Do we need one? It's hardly a lot of addresses.
It's just one domain, so
I
probably
suspect
not,
it's just one
I
domain.
will
I don't
check
think you'd need it really, Glenn.
if we have one. I don't think it's necessary though, because it's just one domain. Where's my location? I'll say tags. We'll say Duo. Oh, we do. There you go. You can also just use the built-in
Maze
tag.
balls. Yes, apparently, Glenn, we do have a built-in tag for Duo.
So USB drives, first piece of homework is, at this point, we should be looking at USB drives across the entire organization. We should have some kind of policies in place. You've got the agent deployed. Just a reminder, if you want to see what USB traffic's being used in your organization, just click on here and go to interface equals USB and hit search, and you'll see I have none. You'll see all of the USB traffic, so that allows you to put appropriate policies in place. And just a reminder on that, you can create a detect policy
to show you if people are using unencrypted drives.
Well, you have that in Unified Audit, but you can create a detect policy to automatically block USB drives if somebody exceeds a certain number using the automation in detect. So you could say, for example, we allow our marketing team, our events team, to copy PowerPoint slides to USB drives because they need to when they're at trade shows. Mm-hmm. But if they copy more than, I think, 5 in an hour, it automatically shuts their USB drive access off until it's been reviewed. So that's always a good thing where you do have to allow access.
Occurrences.
Yeah, occurrences is called. And I won't show you how to do it because we'll be here all day, but just a reminder on that, there's plenty of examples in community and your solution engineer can help you. Okay, unused local admin rights. On week 2, we went through how to deal with that. I want to check, did we actually put that onto the permanent list yet? I don't think we did yet, so we need to get that onto the permanent list as well. Do a patch your applications? No. Review. Okay, that's the second piece of homework this week. And this will be emailed out as well afterwards. We want to make sure that you have unused admin accounts are removed. Just a reminder, if you go into the portal here and go to elevation control, you can see all of your local administrators and it will show you when their last login was as well. Obviously, I don't have many here. If they're not a built-in administrator, like this one here, we can delete and it will remove it from the account. And it's not being used, so it's not really going to hurt anyone.
Or we could do it by policy.
Yes, big caveat. We did go through this before. We can create a policy here if we don't want to go and delete 400 of them. Just make sure you look at the list to know what's going to be deleted by the policy. And we can essentially, what I've done here is say, remove all admin accounts, and I've put exclusions here. So technically, this will apply. This machine was only installed yesterday, hence why it hasn't applied yet. But this will automatically delete the admin accounts anyway, and this puts all your exclusions.
Other than those.
Other than the ones below. Please, this is a permanent action, so if you do create a policy, be really, really careful.
It's not deleting users, it's just removing them from the administrators group.
Yes, it's permanent though. Well, not you can re-add it, but
yes.
We did have some problems at the beginning where people were removing their admins and then didn't have their other admin password. And
Matthias has said, I don't see any admin listed. Do I need to enable that somehow?
if elevation control is enabled, you should see admins listed. So if you go to organizations and just make sure the elevation control module is enabled on here, and you should see.
Just back to what we spoke about a moment ago now. Anonymous attendee, I don't know if this is the nice anonymous attendee or the Mac-hating anonymous attendee, but he said, when you whitelist by domain name, does that expose any sort of vulnerability to DNS hostname attacks, for example? Does the DNS resolve locally or against the ThreatLocker DNS server?
Okay, so when you allow by hostname, we're not actually resolving the DNS. We're just actually passing what it's connecting to. So it's going to connect to the public DNS. So if the public DNS was poisoned, potentially that would say it's going to allow you to go somewhere else. However, if you're allowing 443, the certificate is going to fail, and that won't work. So you'd have to have your DNS poisoned, and if it's only 443, you're going to get certificate failure.
Dave Barnes has asked, can we have a simulate mode for removal of admins?
Rob, that's a question for you.
That is
You're
a
going to have to add that
question
to the list.
Consider that considered, Dave.
He's going to put it onto his very long list of tasks. Other things we should have done is we should be comfortable and reviewing our application. So weekly things, every week, do a simulation on the audit, know what's been denied, but also have a look at your applications here. Have a look at what applications you're running. You can use these filters, so you can say, I want to know where the code was compiled.
Skylar has asked, does ThreatLocker have a punishment system built in for problem users? Rickroll pop-ups and full volume audio cues would be welcome.
Okay, we do not. However, we did once make a mouse. It never really worked very well. We tried to get the dog shot collar, and I made a mouse, early days of ThreatLocker, that was wired into the computer, and when the ThreatLocker pop-up came up, it electrocuted you. And the problem was it was a 12-volt battery, so unless you had wet hands, you couldn't feel it. So then I tried to hack the dog collar apart, but I couldn't ever get it working.
So what you're saying is we were almost a hardware company as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, as much as Microsoft were when they made the Microsoft mouse.
Well, fair.
Yeah, so, but no, we don't have a punishment, but that is a good idea. Okay, so in week 2 as well, disable Office macros. We should have done this on our guinea pigs. I don't think we did this as a permanent, so this is your third piece of homework. These are nice, easy ones to do. So you just go in and create a policy. Nope, there was no disable Office macros. We should be disabling Office macros if we don't need them. Just a reminder, the finance team, they still believe it's the 90s. I don't care what company you're in. Our finance team sometimes believe it's the 90s as well, and they do like their macros. So just double check that they're not using macros when you disable them. And we also turned on a policy for disabling SMB version 1, and we should have, if I recall rightly, we did that in week 3. We blocked SMB version 1 already, so we should have blocked that pretty much across the board at this stage. Yep. No one should be using SMB version 1, but just a reminder on that, if you haven't done that, scanners. BitLocker on your servers, just a reminder, it should be turned on your servers. Definitely should have been on your test servers. It should be on your production servers at this point as well. If you don't have it on your production servers, something you should be doing. If you've got very big database servers, be very cautious with this. Make sure you've done proper testing. Well, testing always, but especially if...
That's why we have guinea pigs.
And you should have also purchased any domains with similar spelling, so like ThreatOinker for ThreatLocker. Okay, we denied inbound network traffic. I'm going to show you how to do this as well. Just a reminder, if we go into network control here, we should have a policy on our workstations group that says deny all inbound traffic. This should be a pretty easy win in workstations. Servers a little bit harder. And we also said block SMB ports by default if you're not running ThreatLocker. So just a reminder on that. On the server side, we did this on week 3. We're going to servers. And we went through and permitted our AD ports. Again, please use the unified audit. Also work with your solution engineer because they'll go through the audit and explain everything that's in there. Permit common file server inbound ports, for example. Here's one.
So that's a community policy, so you can download that from the community.
And basically, we've allowed this for our org, so if someone doesn't have ThreatLocker installed, they're not going to be able to get on the machine. Really, really important to stop remote encryption, so they should be in place. And we could probably be putting, I already have this in place, deny all inbound on my servers as well. Just a reminder, if you don't have a permit policy, it will default back to the Windows policy. So we have had customers stung on this before where they deleted a permit policy,
And then
or they moved it to another org, and then suddenly the Windows firewall started blocking things. So it's going to default to the Windows firewall if you don't have any permit policy in there as well. Okay, and we are on week 4. VPN. This one made me really popular. Turn off the VPN.
I don't know if you're aware, but while you were away, a large distributor was affected by a ransomware event, and apparently it was I believe SonicWall SSL VPN.
Oh, is that confirmed?
Apparently. I chose my words carefully. But yeah.
Rob's hiding behind the First Amendment.
Yes.
The SonicWall VPNs are a big issue. So if you don't need them, turn them off. If you do need them, restrict them, either the source IP or even both, or the destination once you connect. So if you need to use the VPN to connect to a SQL server, allow only VPN traffic to that SQL server.
Andrew said, company in question should have been using ThreatLocker.
They should have been, but we won't.
Hindsight is wonderful.
Okay, and so again, a VPN, big win, really important. Turn it off or at least massively restrict it. Use a different firewall, so don't just rely on the ACL. If you're putting an ACL in place that says it can only connect to these hosts, ideally put a different firewall in between, because if there's a vulnerability in the VPN, they're going to be able to change the ACL as well. So something else in between would be good.
Zach just said, Danny looked pretty happy about that vulnerability on the SonicWall SSL VPN. I don't know if we described him as looking happy over it.
I'm never happy.
No. Can confirm.
No, I wouldn't.
By the way, marketing, can we get that chopped at some stage? Just Danny saying, I'm never happy. Thank you.
This is my happy face. Right. Okay, and MFA should be on all your cloud accounts where possible.
On all your everything, really.
Well, yes. A lot of things on MFA, though, that people don't necessarily understand, and Duo is a perfect example of this. So you've got Duo on your server, it's great. If you're a small company, you can actually put it, I think, 10 licenses.
Anonymous attendee just... excellent comment. Must be nice to be the CEO. I can't afford to drink out of an open glass next to my work laptop.
It's on my laptop. Someone else's. So, if you've ever been to Zero Trust World, there's literally 1,500 laptops lined up, tables after table. This is one of the Zero Trust World laptops. So I can't afford to remember to bring mine downstairs. Where was I now?
2FA?
2FA. Oh yeah, so Duo. Perfect example. You can actually use Duo free of charge. It means if someone connects your RDP server, it requires a dual factor prompt. It's very good. It means someone can't RDP to your server. But here's the fact on it. If you're using Duo and you're on the network, they can still connect to your remote registry. They can still connect to your SMB shares. And so
it only protects logins.
It only protects logins. And here's the really, really bad part of this. And Duo are aware of this is a public vulnerability. I'm calling it a vulnerability. They call it a limitation. You can go into the registry and change the Duo keys to point to someone else's tenant on Duo.
Oh.
So if you are on the network, it doesn't stop them connecting to the remote registry. And if they don't have a remote registry, they can connect to the admin dollar share. They can start it. They can change the keys. They can redirect it to another Duo tenant. This is, unless they fixed this within the last year or two. But we did get a response saying it wasn't a vulnerability, and it's been around for a long time. So don't think it makes you bulletproof. It absolutely doesn't. Your job is to make the hacker's job harder, so it slows them down. Again, if you're closing those ports down, closing down RPC ports, it makes it a lot harder for someone to use remote registry. Disabling the remote registry protocol or service is another good idea as well there, if you can do that. We talked about conditional access policies in Office 365. You should have them on your guinea pigs at least now, and we should be starting to expand them across the board. So over the next, we've got 4 things on the homework list, which we're going to email out, but even if they're done over 3 or 4 weeks, let's get these things done. Set the conditional access policies. I was actually traveling around the world. I have conditional access, so I can only log in from an IP address of a ThreatLocker device, which means my laptop, my phone. It's a little bit of a pain if you go that strict because it takes up to 15 minutes for Microsoft to fix it. I traveled to like 8 countries, so it was a bit, and connected to lots of networks, but most of the time it was a few minutes and I could get in. I'm also in the C-suite. I think my email should be protected at the highest level. So you've got certain users that need to be protected higher. So have conditional access so they can only access from trusted IPs where they're really important. Infrastructure people, finance people, anyone that can transfer large amounts of money. Very, very important, or authorize that at least. Outside of that, just have conditional access, limit countries, limit... there was a whole bunch of recommendations on the blog on that as well. And use your company's branding. That should be done by now as well. So when you go to your Office 365 page, you should see a pop-up saying ThreatLocker if you're logging into ThreatLocker, or your own company logo at this point. It won't make a huge difference, but if you can stop a user putting phishing details into a site that isn't like yours...
Yeah, people are less likely to make a mistake if they're used to seeing your logo and they suddenly just get a generic Office 365 login page. Peter, by the way, says, Danny, thank you for addressing some of the dual limitations. It's a wonderful tool, but it definitely is not bulletproof.
No, you can actually ring-fence registry editor and remote registry too, so it can't change those keys. Is another useful trick on that. I don't know if we have a community policy. I feel like one's coming though.
I definitely feel it approaching.
Ring-fence remote registry so it can't edit your registry, at least on those keys. Okay, web filtering. That was pretty easy. You turn it on, stop the websites you don't want, at least the malicious sites. All of the other sites are blocked here now in Florida, so no need to block them. And if you're not using ThreatLocker, just have some kind of DNS web filtering to at least block malicious known sites. You're not going to be able to catch every phishing site. I get 30 messages a day saying I've got unpaid tolls in Florida. I don't know why.
Maybe you should pay your tolls and you wouldn't get all those messages.
So some of them are definitely legitimate. But if I click on the link, because we test them.
Interesting.
Normally they're up for an hour or two and then they get blocked.
Sean just made a point, which is we routinely see phishing campaigns in the Caribbean?
I'd say Caribbean.
Whichever one causes the most offence, whose landing pages dynamically rebrand on the fly based upon the victim email address domain.
Yeah, it's the branding is definitely
That's
not
clever.
100%. It helps.
It helps. Again, it's not bulletproof. It's
It
not
doesn't
going to stop
cost you
people
anything
falling.
either, so it's 10 minutes. Put your logo on there, and it's not perfect, but it does help. I mean, you could actually put it on the logo. Check the URL is. So that would be interesting. And we also talked about ring fencing. So just to recap on that, the absolute out of the box in ThreatLocker, we're going to ring fence the high risk applications, Office, Chrome, PowerShell, but we should be doing that. I'm going to go more into that over the next few weeks. Okay, so we went through patching. We'll talk a little bit more about patching today as well, but we should patch your applications and operating system. There's a load of opportunities out there. We were talking about hot patching before this call, but I feel like hot patching is so limited in Windows. It allows you to essentially patch a server without rebooting it. Here's the challenge with it. One is the hot patches aren't always released at the same time as the live patches. The other problem is it could still take your server down just like any patch could. So if you've got a mission critical server that can't go down, you should probably have a load balancer or a mirror or something like that to allow you to do your patching in a more effective and way. But you should have operating system patching in place, whether you're using Azure applications. Again, tip, even if you're not using our patch management, we'll tell you which applications are out of date on the Health Center page as well. If I go to here just to show you that, even if you don't use our patch management, you'll see how many applications have missing updates on them. So that's really useful. If you use our patch management, of course, we can patch those third-party apps.
So Nathan has just asked a question, and Nathan obviously isn't aware of your background. Speaking of emails and phishing, are there any ThreatLocker-related email filtering security tools on the horizon? Any sneak peeks?
No. No. I mean, we do more.
Where did we meet?
So.
And how many years ago was it?
2005, 2006, maybe 2006 or 2005.
I'd say it's longer than that. I'd go closer to...
It wasn't before 5.
Okay.
Anyway. So my first business was an email security company. I ran 2 email security companies.
Your first and second business, technically, were email security companies.
And I will tell you one thing. It's the worst business to be in the world. And I'll tell you why. Because you get 100 complaints every day that you either stopped too much or you didn't stop enough. And you cannot win. We're doing more and more integrations with Office to look for malicious URLs and things like that in the emails. But it needs to be more... Not, hey, we're
basically, been there, bought the T-shirt,
never want to do it again.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a miserable Miserable business to be in.
Andrew's asked, on the subject of patching, any idea when Adobe Reader will be on patch management? Soon.
Adobe Reader is not on patch.
No, it's the channels, update channels thing that I think is going live today.
Oh, is it because it's on
Maybe
different
yesterday.
channels?
Yeah, it's a whole thing, I believe.
Okay, so
Chrome's
Rob
the
just said
same.
it's going live today.
I believe so.
So that should
Don't
be today.
quote me on that. Oh no, I've just been quoted on that. Yeah, let's say, to be on the safe side, end of the week should be available for patching, along with Chrome and the other things that everybody went, why don't you do that?
Okay, you should have backups in place already, hopefully before this webinar started. Just a reminder, the offsite 3-2-1 rule. And you should also have your backups protected with storage policies to make sure that it's harder for an attacker to read
And you
them.
should verify them. Make sure they're working. Make sure you're not backing up empty data.
We do restores every single week, multiple times. I will actually often walk up to infrastructure and tell them an instance and tell them they've got to restore it. And
He can confirm he does do that.
Yeah, well, because I think you have to be able to recover as fast as possible. So the more comfortable people are with recovering, the better you are. And this isn't necessarily security, it's all about continuity. But I'll just walk over to infrastructure, I'll give them an instance. And sometimes I'll just say, I want an entire data center failed over. No, we don't actually fail it over. They'll bring the whole thing up. They'll have QA test it. So but it's always good to have a good restore plan.
And Christopher has asked, can you re-explain the 3-2-1 policy backups?
3-2-1 is no, I forgot now. 3 copies of your data in two locations, one of which is offsite.
Boom.
There you go.
Done.
So
And
so let's talk about where we should be now. So applications and patching, we're going to talk more about that. Be even more restrictive about what applications are allowed. Oh, sorry. So we've done, as of right now, you should be in a situation where you've learned the applications that are running in your environment. You should see what's there. You should be in a default secure state for most of your endpoints, if not all of them. You might have some developers or stragglers, but we should be pretty close to that default secure. Now we want to start taking away privileges. The first goal of deploying a whitelisting solution is figure out what the environment looks like and allow that to continue to run like that. The second thing is let's start paring back the environment. Now, the first thing you should remove is not people's games. We should remove them. I completely agree. It shouldn't be the first thing. It's not your biggest security threat, but it is going to be your biggest approval rating tank. So I'm going to switch to the applications page here. I'm going to show you. Okay, so we've gone through this a lot, but you want to have a look and understand everything that's in this list. And a couple of things. So if we've got built in, we'll tell you tags that allow you to understand what it is. But if it's in your environment, you probably should know what it is. And if I filter by 500 per page, we'll go through here. We can see coupon clippers. So I can see there's a coupon clipper here. There's a shopping tool. We can see what it's got access to in the environment. So we have to start removing things from the environment that we don't want in this case. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this really, really effectively. So I've got 133 rows here. Most people are going to have 700. There's a cool feature here called remove unused. Oh, that's unused applications. So go to policies page here. And we go remove unused policies from the policies page. And this allows you to basically say, any policy that hasn't been matched, I want to remove it. And the reason this is important is because you're going to start off with about 700, most people are. If you can probably get this down to 350 just by saying, remove everything that isn't being used. If it's not being used, I don't want to know. And you can set back a few. Ideally, we want to set back 6 weeks. So if it hasn't been used in 6 weeks, so I'll go back to the 1st of May.
Christopher, I removed Solitaire from the accounting office and they complained, so I bought them all a deck of cards.
I thought he was going to say donuts. So so here I can check removals and say I remove everything that hasn't ran since May 29th. And this will basically get rid of half the list for you, and you don't even have to think about it. And this box here will then remove any of the application definitions. If you go to the applications page, you can see how many computers they're being used on. So the applications that are being used on most computers are probably not the bad ones. So again, if we sort by the computers here, I'll go the other way. These ones obviously have none, so I can remove them. These have one. So I can start saying, well, what is Airtame? I have no idea what Airtame is. It's enterprise software. It says airtime is wireless screen sharing in digital signage applications. There you go. That's good to know.
We just learned something.
It was made in Hungary, Denmark, and the United States. So very complicated software as well. And it has access to all of our data. So now we can start saying, do we want this in our environment and do we want to remove it? If we do want it, but we want to restrict, let's just say, hey, I don't like this. It was made in a lot of different countries, never heard of it before, I don't feel very comfortable, but the user needs it. We can actually go in and start applying restrictions to say, at least don't allow this to access any of my files. Don't let it talk to any other applications on my system unless I explicitly disclose it. So these are great checkboxes. If you're not sure if that's going to break the application, again, monitor only, do a simulation a week later, and then we can change the policy.
Dustin has suggested he removes policies unused for 6 months, some sites 1 year. Depends on if it's used annually. 6 weeks seems too soon and will cause headaches. He's probably not wrong. 6 weeks might be a little optimistic.
Okay. I'm not sure 6 months that's a long time. But
well, I suppose the point is to do it at some point, whether it be 6 months or a year, just to do it, because there's going to be a lot of stuff there that isn't needed.
Absolutely. So I think I'm doing 6 weeks because we've only got 6 weeks a day. If you've had ThreatLocker for a long time, you can do it for a much longer period. The other thing we can do is we want to focus on the things that are most important. So let's focus on this week's homework on this part, where we go into the health center. And I'm going to say download my health report. And the reason I'm going to do this is going to tell you the highest risk applications in your environment. And I can open the PDF. And it's going to tell me some configuration issues. And here, it's going to show you every application. And this is a great PDF to send to your board of directors as well when you want to justify why you're doing what you're doing. It will show you all the foreign countries in there. Figure out who they vote for and make sure you highlight the ones that offend them the most. And but here is going to show you these are the things that we consider the highest risk based on what you have. So we have 6 most priority applications. uBlock. I'm not sure uBlock is the most priority, but it's got an algorithm that's deciding what's risky. It's probably the Canadian flag is upset.
Yes.
A LibreOffice, but obviously the ones I'm seeing, 7-zip can be used to encrypt files. Nmap, PuTTY, and MSDT are all things that it's saying, if you don't need these, remove them. If you do need them, you can't remove them from your system, but PuTTY being a big one, it's used for data exfil. Very, very risky. And then once you remove them and rerun this report, it will actually show you the next 6 to review. It also lists them in order. You'll see a score down the right side on the review rating. And as we get lower down the page, it gets more and more benign.
Did I notice 7-zip is right at the very top?
Yes.
Did you see Kieran's awesome new exfiltration script?
No, you use 7-zip.
Yeah.
Won't work on my machine.
No, it won't. It won't work on a machine running ThreatLocker, but it'll work on most machines, and it doesn't get picked up by the EDRs that we thought block data exfiltration. Apparently don't if it's only one file. So 7-zip, compress, encrypt, no problems at all. So we had mistakenly thought that some EDRs were extremely clever and were blocking data exfiltration. Apparently they only consider it to be data exfiltration if it's many files. One file, off you go.
So we have so what we're saying is if you use the PowerShell rubber ducky script,
it gets blocked.
But if you zip it to one file,
it doesn't get blocked. I'm pretty sure I sent you a message about this and you obviously didn't read it.
Did you see my Teams?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a Teams message. I know at this point I know not to send you Teams messages, but yes, really interesting. Again, shows the limits in trying to decide what's good and what's bad.
Okay, next thing we want to do today is put a policy in place for alerting on a default deny hit. Now, generally speaking, we do not want to get an alert if someone gets a default policy hit because it's probably user logging into Chrome, trying to pull all their Chrome extensions over. And if they hit request, then you can get an alert. But we don't want to get every alert. But in ThreatLocker Detect here, we can go to policies, and we're going to create a new policy. And I'm going to say alert if default server's policy is hit. And the reason being is if something's being denied on your server,
you probably want to know
whether it's being denied wrong or whether it's being denied for the correct reasons you want to know. Okay, so here I'm going to basically go in, and someone's going to tell me there's one in I'm going to show you how to make it. Someone's going to tell me in a minute, I'm sure, that there's one in community. But we can essentially say if policy, you could say policy name if you want to be smart, but the best thing to do is say policy matches. Actually, the best thing to do is do it in any condition. So we'll say policy. I've already got it up here, so let me do it on that. Policy matches. And the reason I'm doing it in any is because if we have multiple server groups, default. We say default Linux, default, which is probably the servers, default servers, and we can add all of our server groups in here, and then we're going to say create alert, and we're going to say default policy was hit. And this allows you to basically get an alert on the board. You go in, if it's fake, you clear it, you figure out what should be permitted. If it's not, then you can also send emails if you want. This is a bit noisy if you're sending emails, though. In Detect. Okay, so what have we got next?
Glenn has asked, can we ring fence Chromium extensions yet?
We can't. The problem is with ring fencing is you're ring fencing a process. So the answer is no, but you can ring fence Chrome to make sure it can't access any of your files.
He's more interested in being able to ring fence certain extensions from accessing passwords, for example, in Chrome.
Yeah.
I mean, there is another simple solution to that, which is don't store your passwords in Chrome.
Well, no, but it can actually read the passwords from the website that you enter. It's not where you store your passwords. So if you type in your password or use Keeper or any password manager and you have Cooper running, it can see all of the form data.
I see.
Which is why it can see it. So anything that can see form data can see passwords that you enter when you go to websites.
So short answer is no.
And unfortunately, we can't because Chrome doesn't give us access to that data. It's inside the Chrome process.
We do have, if I'm not much mistaken, a storage control policy to block access to the Chrome's password file, so we can basically stop people from being able to save passwords, but obviously not stop people from entering passwords.
Yeah, and that's the big risk with Chrome. And unfortunately, if we could,
same for Edge, by the way, you can block Edge from saving passwords too.
Yes, you can.
Community storage control policy.
You can use. Is there a configuration manager policy?
No, storage control.
Oh, storage control. Okay. We should have block most outbound traffic on servers by now as well. Again, if you're not sure, the way to do this is just don't create any policy. Go into the unified audit. Say, I'm going to go into my group name. So I'll say computer group. I'm just going to say contains, so I'm lazy. Servers. And I'm going to say action type equals network. And I'm going to add one more condition here, which is direction equals outbound, and then hit simulate denies. If we haven't put any policy in place, it will give you lots of green denies.
Do you know what would be really cool with an advanced search like that is to save it?
You can.
I know. Show the people.
Here, we can see all of our recent searches as well. We can just hit save and say
Danny's special search.
Servers outbound traffic. And then
just don't feel you have to do all those things every time. Do save them. Makes life easier. Christopher, when are we going to be able to enter a website to see what policy is blocking it?
Well, you can enter a website.
No, I think he means within the portal. I presume he means within the portal?
Yeah, you just go into here and you type in you can literally type it in the search box here. So let's go to bet365.com. It's blocked. And then bet365.com. It'll probably take a minute to go up there. It'll be in there, and I don't even need the filter. Let me remove my other filters actually. Delete. Search. I'll give that a minute to come up, and we'll see what blocked it.
Craig's, can we block users from saving passwords but still let them retrieve already saved passwords? This policy works that way. Would be great for transition to fully blocking this ability without losing their incorrectly saved passwords. Short answer is unfortunately not, Craig. Those storage control policies basically just block. Oh, actually, I just had a thought. Kieran, you can probably answer this. Could we have that storage control policy set to block only read-write and allow read?
I wouldn't trust it, but maybe.
Short answer is maybe, Craig. Have a look at those policies in the community and maybe play around with allowing just read access, which might let them.
So I can literally just search it here. I could also put it in like the host name here or destination. Domain.
Christopher, is it possible to create a detect policy that would alert on attempts to steal saved passwords from browsers? Probably is the short answer. I mean, if we've got a storage control policy that blocks access to those files, because we do have.
You could tell if something's trying to read it other than. But this isn't a Chrome extension in there. Okay, what else have we got to go through today, Rob?
So Nick has asked this question twice, so he really wants to know, but he says, does the ThreatLocker driver hook into TCP/IP.sys? He's asked it twice.
I actually don't know the answer to that. I know it's a driver.
And he specifically asked, this is a Danny question. Question for Danny, does the ThreatLocker driver hook into TCP/IP.sys?
I don't think so, but I wouldn't answer that confidently because I didn't actually write the driver. I wrote the first ThreatLocker driver and I blue screened all the machines.
Which is why we don't let you near the driver anymore.
No, I don't write the ThreatLocker driver anymore. I let
Joe mentioned Zero Trust World 2025 was awesome. Lab cookie theft, advanced methods and practices. So shout out to, I think, our special projects team who ran that.
Okay, so I'm just seeing if we missed anything on here. Use secure administrator host for administrative tasks in Active. Okay, that's one thing we haven't talked about. Is we've got plenty of homework, but I'm going to add more onto the homework.
Sorry.
Someone's going to transcribe this and send it all out. Is set up a machine for doing your admin tasks, and put it in the data center. Put it in on a VM if you have to. Have a different machine to your normal machine because I'm going to bet 365 on my machine. It's being blocked. I constantly want to test things. Probably shouldn't be doing it on my live machine, but most of the time it's just blocked. One day I might do something bad. That machine is now compromised. If you've got admin tasks, if you've got SQL Management Studio, if you've got RDP sessions, have them on a separate machine that's just used for that purpose. If you use a VM, use a physical machine, use a machine in the data center. If you're managing the machines in the data center, put restrictions on the machine. It should be locked down as much as everything else, but it's really, really important. A couple of other things you can be doing is on your Active Directory, remove any unnecessary roles and features. So going to roles and features in Windows, if you're not using something, if you find FTP is installed. I remember Microsoft removed Telnet client. I was so mad when they did that by default from Windows. And now I understand why they did it. But back then I was in email, so I was constantly using Telnet to connect to SMTP servers and send emails. And it made me so mad. But if you don't need Telnet, if you don't need file services, SMB version 1, if you don't need Active Directory to be installed, just remove it from the server. It makes an attacker's job a lot harder.
Just back to the question about web control and what category something gets blocked or something would be blocked by. Yes, but Randy has elaborated and said a proactive way to query the ThreatLocker web control module to see what web control categories fit into. For example, type in chatgpt.com and the output would show what built-in categories it appears in.
Oh, okay.
Not a bad suggestion.
I mean, technically, we have an API that does it because we just have to make it a little bit prettier than available to a user.
Walt, is there any way to prevent download installation of Chrome extensions?
Well, it does stop Chrome extensions by default in ThreatLocker. So if I go to Chrome Web Store, assuming this machine is actually secured because I have no idea where it came from, I'm going to go to Chrome Web Store, Ultimate Car Driving Experience. That looks really impressive. So let's try and add this, and whether it can access my passwords or not should be irrelevant because as soon as it finishes downloading, ThreatLocker is going to pop up and say, nope, you could not see this. This is and it actually says it's a browser extension that's been blocked, and you can request access if you want to request access. And it'll say, hey, this will actually be able to access your passwords. So are you sure you want to have the ultimate driving experience? Access your passwords. And it's a Beamer as well.
I was going to say, that sounds like a BMW.
Okay. So I think we got a lot of homework to do, unfortunately.
Sorry, people. It was always going to happen. It was fun while it lasted.
over the next few weeks. We will be back next Tuesday, and we will send an email out as well, just a reminder of everything that needs to be done. There is a lot to be done now. Like I said, we should be at a point where most of our machines are secured. Let's start removing untrusted software. Software that you don't want. Let's start making sure that those outbound policies and those inbound policies are in place across the entire organization. And hopefully we'll get some good questions next week from that. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Any other questions? What have we got? Oh, we got 8 minutes.
We do have 8 minutes. I was actually surprised. One of the two I did with the guys, we finished one of them very early and one of them very late. So on average, we were bang on time between the two of them. Craig, I keep hearing Danny say he's a security risk. I have no idea where this machine came from. Is it like a USB found in the car parking lot?
I don't know. I came here. It was sat on my desk. I just I opened it up.
Now,
had a nice game on it.
Chris said, if it's a BMW, that explains the failure to use the turn signal.
Yes.
Watch it.
Yeah, BMW and Mac users. I will say, so if we share the screen, this is what it says on the back of my machine. Zero Trust World Hacking Lab. So wherever it came from is probably not good.
We do have some, a previous question from William. Old and unsupported C++ versions and .NET versions are killing me. How can we get a report of what applications are calling the old version of these utilities? Basically, ring fence feels like C++ 2010 and report what app is calling it.
Okay, so I suppose we could actually put that into the... We have a special feature coming out. That's not a bad idea to put it into the... So the .NET isn't so bad. So here's the thing about .NET, and this one kills me all the time. If you're running .NET 4.5, say, and ThreatLocker requires .NET 4.5, and you're running .NET 4.8 on your machine, which is the current latest version, now we're switching to Core, it's going to use 4.8 if you've got 4.8 installed. It's going to use 4.5 if you've got 4.5 installed. So that .NET isn't too bad, unless .NET Core might be, because they're bundled inside. So we could probably put in a report to say if there's you could search the hashes of the old versions, but we could also put a report in there to say you've got out-of-date versions.
Nick said, going to Zero Trust World in March, 3rd year in a row. Been wanting to say hi to you both, but you are always so busy and I don't want to interrupt.
Interrupt.
Yeah, we're not really busy. We just pretend to be busy.
Mostly people are just coming over anyway. So.
Okay, this is a loaded question. How would you prevent a meltdown similar to the one that happened on July the 19th last year?
Which meltdown happened on July 19th last year?
It starts with a C and ends with a blue screen.
Oh. Okay, so it's been a year?
It's apparently so.
So, someone said to me, are you worried about being like CrowdStrike? And I said, no, for 2 reasons. One is if one day I lose $40 billion on a market cap from a $100 billion company, it's not the end of the world. Okay, it was in that case. But the other reason is, first of all, you should test. We do updates all the time, and we've got millions and millions of endpoints, and it's very, very seldom an update doesn't interfere with something. And not because there's a bug in the update, but because we rely on third-party software. CrowdStrike's case was not that. It was a bug, and it was just a completely botched update. So that is a complete meltdown as opposed to, hey, I've got a conflict. So, but generally speaking, when you push builds, when you have a security software, you should go in and you should test the builds on your guinea pigs, and then you should roll it out to the rest of your organization.
And just for the record, we are basically the guinea pigs.
Yeah, and I heard, and this may be a rumor, that the reason it didn't affect them internally is because they all use Macs. So we do not all use Macs.
No.
We do. Some of us do. Rob.
Yes.
But the way we ensure that doesn't happen to us though is, first of all, we have multiple checks on every single build that goes live. So if a build gets pushed, it has to have 3 unique checks from 3 unique different departments. Mainly because I'm paranoid that I'm going to get infiltrated by Russia or something. And Intel QA, infrastructure, and dev have signed off on it. It will not work. The build does. If you ever notice, it says if you try that, we do a custom build on support, it will say failed to download because the hash doesn't match, just because one of the departments hasn't put it right. So we have multiple checks to stop that happening. The reason it happened in CrowdStrike is they kind of try to cheat the system. So Microsoft have a code signing requirement. So whenever you create a driver in Windows, you send it to Microsoft. Microsoft site in it.
It's a pain in the ass, but it does fulfill a function.
Yeah, we send them our code, they review it, they make sure they're not pushing out malware, and then they sign it. Well, CrowdStrike didn't want to wait for Microsoft's thing, so they basically had it, so the content had the code in it, and they essentially had an empty shell driver which read the content and loaded the code in there.
That sounds risky.
Which also was another problem. So there was a number of things that went wrong in that case. But in our case, we have 3 separate checks. It goes to QA, it goes to ThreatLocker first, and it also goes to our beta customers first. And then you can choose to update your machines to ensure that you're not going to have a conflict. Because while the CrowdStrike made the news because there was millions and millions of machines that got shut down. There's always security software. There's always Windows updates. You see it on Facebook all the time. Hey, Windows update X just tanked my machine because they're using some printer or something like that. So you should always test any updates in a critical environment before they get pushed out. Anyway, we also have a cool new feature coming that allows you to do micro testing on the same group. So you can say 20% this day, 20% the next day, 20%
Slow rollouts.
Slow rollouts within your organization. So we do it within ours as a whole. So we never push one big bill to everybody. The other thing is, if you rely on reactive security, where you've got to push a build every time there's a new piece of malware or a new threat, CrowdStrike pushed 10 updates, 11 updates a day. That's a lot of room for error. When you're relying on proactive, where you're blocking by default, you don't need that many updates.
That's fair. Now, there is another question, which I don't know if we're going to have time to cover, but the question about will Microsoft's push to kick AV vendors out of the kernel access affect ThreatLocker?
So Microsoft, yes, it will, but not to the point where you have to worry, because they're essentially replacing the drivers with hooks into the operating system. So essentially, and the European courts ruled that they had to do it with their own software if they're doing it there. So there'll be no other way around it. Essentially, the new push now is starting to open up these hooks so we can start using them. And then eventually, it's probably going to be 10 years before they actually shut down drivers, because in order to shut down drivers, they have to make it so all hardware,
of which on Windows there is a lot.
Yes, is using their new system.
But I mean, the point is, Microsoft are adding additional functionality and APIs, and we are going to endeavor to use that additional functionality and APIs insofar as we can.
Yes, and we do it currently with the Mac. Mac does not have kernel level access anymore. Yeah,
that sounds like an awesome operating system, Danny.
Yeah, but you still get kernel panics.
I literally can't remember. Fun fact: there was a guy I used to work with years ago, and his nickname was Kernel Panic.
Okay. He was a Mac guy,
yeah. There was another one.
That's your new.
There was another one we called him General Protection Fault.
I'm going to rename you in my phone to Kernel Panic.
Definitely showing my age.
Okay, we got
cool.
1 minute.
Do you want another question?
Go on.
Oh God.
Make it good.
Okay, Peter, having used ThreatLocker for 3+ years, we've only encountered one version of ThreatLocker to cause any widespread issues, and that was back like 7. That was probably when Danny was writing the driver, so we can discard that. Skylar, I have to ask again, is ThreatLocker OS on the horizon? I don't think I can see that far.
Yeah.
No. Not currently. Not currently. Peter, ThreatLocker RMM when?
Never.
Well, technically, we have got RMMs. It's basically just a reverse shell.
Well, you have a remediator, which allows you to do. There's a separate program you have to install.
Brian is asking, where do I get those ThreatLocker? Ask us nicely, Brian, and I'm sure we can sort you out.
Brian, you should have an account manager who has a secret swag budget.
Exactly. Either that or book a demo and ask them nicely. And I think we are officially over time now.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us today.
I'm sorry for all the homework.
And we will send an email with all the homework, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. And we're really getting close to the end now, and some exciting new announcements coming up as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you all.
Thank you.